My Lord and my God, I firmly believe that you are here, that you see me, that you hear me. I adore you with profound reverence. I ask your pardon for my sins and grace to make this time of prayer fruitful. My Immaculate Mother, Saint Joseph, my Father and Lord, my guardian angel, intercede for me. You may have wondered where the title is coming from. I'm preparing these words of the anthem of my former school, an Air Force primary school, came to mind. We used to sing every day, "We do not fight, we do not nag. In our school, all is charity." Whether we achieved this growing up, I doubt it. I have my reasons. Another line of the anthem says, "We emulate the steps of our teachers, and to them we pay our respect." I turn to you, Jesus, because you have become my lifetime teacher, whose character I admire. That is why I seek to discover you daily in the Gospel. It's again St. Matthew narrating, in continuation from yesterday's event of healing of the man with the withered hand. But the Pharisees went out and took counsel against him how to destroy him. Jesus, aware of this, withdrew from there. And many followed him, and he healed them all, and ordered them not to make him known. This was to fulfill what was spoken by the prophet Isaiah. "Behold my servant, whom I have chosen, my beloved, with whom my soul is well pleased. I will put my spirit upon him, and he shall proclaim justice to the Gentiles. He will not wrangle or cry aloud, nor will anyone hear his voice in the streets. He will not break a bruised reed or quench a smoldering wick till he brings justice to victory, and in his name will the Gentiles hope." Do you know what strikes me about you, Jesus? I can tell you, your reactions. These people sought to destroy you, yet you withdraw from there. What next? You go on healing. You deliberately chose to avoid confrontation. Instead, you found a positive alternative in healing more and more people. Your attitude is best profiled in the saying of Prophet Isaiah, which St. Matthew brings to our notice, taken from chapter 42, which opens the song of the servants of Yahweh, the song of the suffering servants. "Behold my servant, whom I have chosen, my beloved, with whom my soul is well pleased." Especially the following verse, that for me depicts your character in the face of human conflicts. "He will not wrangle or cry aloud, nor will anyone hear his voice in the streets." Just like in that school anthem I referred to earlier, we do not fight, we do not nag. In our school, all is charity. Some days ago, I was driving home from school when suddenly I heard a familiar sound, probably another vehicle bashed into mine, or I might have hit a stationary vehicle, I thought. On discovering the damage on both vehicles, mine was, I was ready to begin the usual blame game or argument over whose fault it was. Then I asked the other driver whether he had been distracted, which he denied. He appeared young and became apologetic, even blaming himself. Then he addressed me as a priest, "Father." The truth is that I was already disarmed. By the time I knew it, we got talking. He let me know it was a fairly new car he just got accidented. Then I asked whether it had been blessed. "No," he said, but he was just about to arrange it. I offered to do so for him. Luckily, I had the requirements for the rite, stole, blessing, book, and holy water. It was even recorded with a camera to be sent to his young wife. More surprise came on realizing we were born the same year and had exactly the same university background, as per our first degree. So did our friendship begin. We happily took a selfie and fixed our next appointment, having exchanged our contact details. He admitted that at first he expected someone to come out and start yelling and even cause more commotion. I confessed to him there and then that I was waiting for the kind of intimidation I had received in other similar occasions. But this was all different, and worth a million more. Now, don't go on asking me how the repairs were catered for. That story for another day. Honestly, I can say this friend is a generous heart and a gentle one indeed. Like Jesus, he will not wrangle or cry aloud, nor will anyone hear his voice in the streets. What's your experience? Are you a mother? A father? Do you yell at times? Or raise your voice against your children or other family members, including domestic staff? Are you a boss at the office? A colleague? Do you shout at people? You may be a young person. Maybe during play. Do you scream out of annoyance? How I wish your bearing and conversation were such that on seeing or hearing you, people would say, "This man reads the life of Jesus Christ," St. Josemaria points out. He will not wrangle or cry aloud, nor will anyone hear his voice in the streets. Jesus, you have a unique profile even in the Gospels. I found out that the original word used for you today, erisi, erizo, to wrangle, engage in strife, was used only this once, and it was used to describe the calm temper of Jesus in contrast with the vehemence of the Jewish doctors wrangling together about tenets and practices, about healing on Sabbath or not. Jesus, you will not wrangle or cry aloud, nor will anyone hear your voice in the streets. Charlie thought I could find other places where you cried out, only found this once when you were before the grave of your friend Lazarus. You cried aloud to him in order to wake him from death. But other times when this word is used for the demons when they are crying out loud as they exit the possessed man, or the crowds as they are shouting at the top of their voices, "Crucify him, crucify him." But for you, you will not wrangle or cry aloud, nor will anyone hear your voice in the streets. Let's begin today again to imitate Jesus' character. He will not wrangle or cry aloud, nor will anyone hear his voice in the streets. Say what you have just said, but in a different tone, without anger, and your argument will gain in strength, and above all, you won't offend God. St. Josemaria encourages, speaking of the character we must adopt. I got to know this saint called Saint Gerard of Magella, who lived in the 18th century from a very large and poor family. When he was 12, his father died. And upon the death of his father, his mother sent him away to live with his uncle to become an apprentice to a tailor. The tailor treated him well. However, the foreman treated him poorly. But he bore it well. He didn't rebel. After serving as a sewing apprentice for some years, he immediately became a servant in the household of a bishop who was a cantankerous master. God made use of his master to help him practice virtue. With his complaints, scoldings, humiliations, hard labor, he was being purified and he was strengthened in virtue. He remained silent when he received harsh or hasty correction. He even continued trying to be obedient and maintain his cheerfulness in the face of the temptation to lose his temper. He grew more and more in humility, patience, and meekness, and confidence in God. One day he accidentally dropped the key of the bishop's room in the household well, and as he watched the key disappear, he thought to himself how angry the bishop was going to be, and how his reaction could lead to something grave. And he couldn't recover the key. He even thought that the punishment he would receive would not even solve the problem of replacing the key, knowing how difficult it was to get key replacement then. And he was praying to God to help him so that the master's temper would not lead him to excessive anger that could be displeasing to God. Miraculously, he got back the key. That well became known as Little Gerard's Well. The saints have learned Jesus from you to go on healing rather than confront. He will not wrangle or cry aloud, nor will anyone hear his voice in the streets. Why lose your temper if by doing so you offend God, annoy people, upset yourself, and at the end you still have to find it? May we learn from you, Jesus, and ask the Blessed Virgin Mary to guide us in virtue of serenity and peace. I thank you, my God, for the good resolutions, affections, and inspirations which you have communicated to me in this meditation. I ask your help to put them into effect. My Immaculate Mother, Saint Joseph, my Father and Lord, my guardian angel, intercede for me.